Hi everybody, this is Ospreyeye from MyChartCoach.com, and in this video we're going to take a look at stocks that were in play today. Okay, first up, let's take a look here at BAA. Congrats to everybody that caught yesterday's video and yesterday alert. This what closed up 53% today, so nice move. Fasto and RSI are both in the bull zone, so you can see here RSI is at 63, so there's still room to run until the 70 overbought level for RSI, and Fasto is below the 80 oversold or overbought level due to the pullback from high of day. And then if you look here, there was a bullish crossover on ADX with plus DI crossing minus DI to the upside. So the bulls are really taking control here. We were looking for a close above the middle Bollinger Band today. That's this dotted purple line currently at 0.33, and so there was a close above that level. That's a very good start. Now the bulls want to see that level turn into support and a new uptrend begin. The next key resistance level broke intraday. That's this green line here. That's the 50-day simple moving average currently at 50 cents. That broke it temporarily intraday, hit about 60 for a high of day, and then pulled back and closed below that level. So going forward, it needs to close above the 50-day simple moving average to head higher. Once that happens, then we'll be looking at a potential run up here to the 100-day simple moving average at 77. That would be the next target if the 50-day simple moving average can turn into support. Now if the 50-day simple moving average resistance level fails to break tomorrow, you could see the candles work their way back into the bands. If that happens, you want to see the middle Bollinger Band hold. That will be the key level for potential reload off of support. There was a giant volume spike today. The chart is really heating up with the recent bullish crossovers on MACD. The key now for the bulls is just to break resistance and hold support. So good start. If you look here at the BAA 15-minute chart, okay, this is going to show you the breakdown intraday. There was a big spike earlier in the okay. So this is first off, this is the classic setup. If you look at the super tight Bollinger Bands on the preceding days before the breakout yesterday, and so notice how the Bollinger Bands were super tight on this 15-minute chart, and then back here on the 23rd, there was a close above the 50 and the 100 simple moving averages. And so those levels turned into support over the 24th and the 25th. And then on the 28th, there was a break above the 200 and 300 simple moving averages. This was the bull signal. Once this 300 turned into support, that was a signal that it was in play, and then the candle started riding higher. And so this was the classic setup with the tight Bollinger Bands and then the breakout above. So look for this pattern in the future. The key was the bullish volume spike at 11 o'clock, accompanied with the break above resistance. That signaled, this 11 o'clock candle signaled that BAA was in play. So yeah, this was a really nice move. What we're looking at now is support down here at 44. Okay, that's the big level to hold. If that breaks, you could see a drop down here and to test the 50 simple moving average at 0.406. That's the must hold level. If that breaks, then it'll signal the chart has really cooled down, and there could be a big drop back down into the 30s, so you want to be on the sidelines. To the upside, what you really want to see is a break back above this middle Bollinger Band currently at 50 cents. It needs to get above that level, and then the high close happened on the second candle of the day today. That was at 54, and so that is going to be the big resistance level to break to the upside. If you see a close on the 15-minute chart above 54, that's going to signal breakout higher. You might see a run back up into the 60s. If it fails to get above 50, that's going to be a red flag that the run is cooling down. And then if it gets above 54, that'll be a signal that it could possibly be trying to make that move up to the 100-day simple moving average on the daily chart. Okay, so yeah, so if you look here, there was also the climax spike intraday, and that was the big push to high of day up here in 61, and then the pullback that created the long upper wick on this candle, along with the giant volume spike. and that was followed by a red candle. And so that signaled that was high of day, climax spike to lock in gains for potential reload lower if you are a day trader. Okay, so take a look at MARA. Okay, this stock had really nice follow through today. So congrats to everybody that caught yesterday's alert. It closed above the 50 simple moving average, 50-day simple moving average yesterday, currently at 31. And then that was a signal that it was possibly going to break out higher, and then our next target was the 100-day simple moving average at 36, and it closed above that level today. So bulls want to see that level turn into support, and then the key level to break is going to be back here on this close at 41. The two candles closed right at that level. If it can get past 41, then it could possibly run up to 51, which is the closing price back here on June 26th. And so that's the ultimate big level to break. If you see a close above 51, then that would be the signal that possibly a run to the 200-day simple moving average at 97 and penny lands back on deck. So right now it's all about continuing this uptrend. MARA was in the process of turning the middle Bollinger Band into support on these candles. So there was the close above on the 14th of August, and then it took a couple weeks to turn into support, along with breaking the 50-day simple moving average. That looks like that has happened, and then now it's breaking out above the 100-day simple moving average. So there's a nice uptrend starting here. You can see the upper Bollinger Band is pointing upward. You can see the lower Bollinger Band is pointing down. You had the tight Bollinger Bands with the break above, and then also if you look down here at volume, there was the volume spike today. It was the largest volume since the first week of July, and so keep an eye on MARA. We're going to see if it can continue this uptrend. Okay, so let's take a look at UNXL. This was the big winner today. This was a dead cat bounce play. So it ended up closing up 105%. It's going to be, it's breaking oversold levels on RSI and Fasto. This is a dead cat bounce play, and this is a technical bounce. We'll have to see tomorrow if there's going to be more than that. The setup was good on Monday with the candle closing well below the lower Bollinger Band. The lower Bollinger Band is this purple line here, and so the close well below is signaling that the candles need to work back into the bands, and so that created some nice upside potential between the 6-7 level and back up here at 14 where the lower Bollinger Band was, and so when candles are in a nasty downtrend, like you can see back here, the candles were above the middle Bollinger Band and they started writing EMA4 resistance lower. Okay, when that happens, and there's a drop down below the lower Bollinger Band, the candles a lot of times work their way back up to EMA4 where they hit resistance, and that signals a temporary top. So you always want to be looking to, lock in gains when that level's hit on a dead cat bounce. Until there's a close above that level, it's going to signal more downside risk. So tomorrow there needs to be a close above EMA4. If that fails to happen, you could see the share price continue to consolidate. If there's a break above, then this 1920 range, EMA8 is going to be the next target. Okay, so yeah, big volume behind the move today. Some of these dead cat bounce plays lately have made some big moves, so we just have to see. Going forward, candles forming above EMA4 will signal more upside potential. Fail to break EMA4 resistance will signal downside risk. It's always a huge risk to hold a penny stock that is forming candles below EMA4 on the daily chart. Okay, so take a look at RNN. This chart is heating up down here. So this is the classic move above the 50-day simple moving average after closing above the middle Bollinger Band. Notice this stock. Okay, so if you look back here in June, it was trading on the 5th of June above the middle Bollinger Band. That's this dotted purple line. The middle Bollinger Band is also the 20-day simple moving average. Notice that once there was a close below on the 6th of June, that signaled the start of this big downtrend. And so it's just been nothing but bad news ever since until this week. Okay, so basically you could say last week on Thursday there was a test, a middle Bollinger Band test. But it failed to close above. It closed right at that level. And then on Monday, there was the nice close above the middle Bollinger Band. That was the signal that the chart was heating up. Notice how it was on a very light volume. So a lot of these plays have been starting out really quietly, and when that happens, what we look for is a bullish volume spike and a push through resistance, and that happened today. Notice how it was a huge volume today, the biggest green volume bar in quite a long time. You'll have to go off this chart to find one. And the key technical move was the close above the 50-day simple moving average. The candles, it did close above the upper Bollinger Band all the way down here at 219. So if the candles work their way back into the bands, as long as this middle Bollinger Band at basically down here at 190, at this 190 to $2 level holds, this new uptrend should continue. It'll be best if it can stay above the 50-day simple moving average. If that happens, we're looking at this 300-day simple moving average as the next big resistance level to break, along with the 200-day simple moving average. So you have 265 and 283. They're on deck, with the ultimate big level would be up here at this 100-day simple moving average. Is the top moving average on this chart. That's all the way up here at 318. And so, yeah, so this is a really nice move for RNN. It got the big volume spike today. We'll see if it can follow through. You've got Fasto up here at 92, so it is hitting overbought levels. It's getting frothy, and RSI is at 67. Okay, so let's take a look at MGTI. If you look over here at BTCS, at Bitcoin, it's just been on a tear. You can see it's at $4,604 right now. Hit a new all-time high today. It's going nuts. It keeps pushing higher. It's looking like this is headed to 5,000. Yeah, you could look at the weekly chart, see how it's hitting the highs, and then the 1 month chart, and then if you look at the 1 year chart, it's breaking out, and so 5,000 is the next big number. There was a call that this was gonna, I don't know if it was, can't remember if it was Goldman Sachs or they made a call. One of the big firms that 4,700 was going to be the big top, and then you could see a drastic drop to 2,500. I don't know if that's going to play out like that. This has a lot of momentum. We'll see what happens. So keep an eye on 4,700. We'll see if there is some profit taken at that level. If it busts through, it seems like this is headed to 5,000. That seems to be the big psychological level in everyone's head. So now we've got Bitcoin is pushing higher, and the Bitcoin stocks are moving higher as well. And many of them had pulled back and stalled out, and there's been a lot of problems with the penny stocks lately, with halts and various other things going on. But one stock that's been performing really well is MGTI. And so this stock, this is a chart that we posted last time, and then now you can see that it had filled the gap back here in October. And then when it filled the gap, we weren't sure exactly what was going to happen. It formed a couple of red candles, but it held EMA 8 support, the lime line, and it got back above EMA 4, and it's just been pushing higher ever since. And so it's been pushing higher, and then today it filled the next gap. It filled the gap from back here in October. Okay, so there was a gap between these two candles right here, and so that gap did fill today. And so there was a close above the top of the gap, and so that's going to be the key level to hold. That's down here at about 325, and then the next key level to break is going to be up here at $4. That's the closing price back here in September, the high close. And so we're going to see here if that can hit that level. The key is if it closes below EMA 4, that's going to be a sign that the chart's starting to cool down, and you can see it consolidate. It's starting to get this really steep Eiffel Tower type of parabolic move. You've got Fasto up here at 96 and RSI at 83. So the chart is super frothy. We just don't know how high it's going to push. If you look at the volume, there's really big volume, but there was even bigger volume on the run before. And so if you look out at this chart a little bit further, you'll see that this is the same MGTI that made the notorious run back here in 2016. If you see, it was down here at really low levels, and then some news came out, and the stock got pushed super high, and there was a lot of the CEO is notorious, and so there was just basically the stock stalled out. It came back. It stalled out at this 420 level, and then it pulled back, and it came down all the way back down to 50 cents or so, and then now now it's worked its way all the way back up. It's headed almost back up to those highs from back in 2016 when it made that huge parabolic move. And so if it can get out above the high close from back there, back in July of 2016, we'll call that like 430, 440 level, it could break out higher. That's the key level to break. It has been consistently filling the jar back to prior levels. So it looks like this is headed back to that 440, 450 range. Breaks above that, and then you've got the high from back up here. The peak of that run was up around 560. So MGTI has been a monster. It's cruising along. If you look at the volume from back on that run back in 2016, huge volume compared to the volume on this run. So a drastic difference. This is running quietly higher compared to before. A lot of people aren't talking about it. It's not getting the big fanfare, but it's cruising right back to where it was at those lofty levels. This is the MGTI weekly chart, and you can see right here it's clearly working its way back up. It's filling this big cup, this big jar that we like to say. And so the closing price back here on the week of July 2016 is the big level to break. It looks like about 430 or so. If it can close above that level, that'll signal a breakout higher. So keep an eye on MGTI. I'll be posting some more information about other Bitcoin stocks later. And then one more stock to keep an eye on. Keep an eye on DARE. Okay, this stock is thinly traded, only 70,000 shares traded today. It is now above 50 on RSI for the first time since it broke below. Fasto's back above 50 as well since this last big run that it made, all the way up here to around 1150. It's all the way down here in the threes. We were, I was basically the stock here caught our eye because it was, had very, very, very low volume, but it was holding support. Check out the super low volume down here. And we were looking for a close above the middle Bollinger Band, and that finally happened yesterday. And so today there was another close above that level. So on super light volume, this is like it's possibly starting a new uptrend. If you look back here on the previous run, that's kind of how it started out. Super low volume, and then the middle Bollinger Band held, and then eventually it popped and ended up running. So put DARE on your radar. Keep an eye out for a volume spike, a bullish volume spike. If that happens, then this 450 to 460 zone is going to be the key level to break, where the 50 and 100-day simple moving averages are at. Okay, thank you very much for viewing this video. Check us out at mychartcoach.com and our YouTube channel at mychartcoach.com for more charts and technical analysis.